Welcome to the world of physics of class 8. Last 2 years we were studying about physics, and this year also we are going to start with the chapter matter. I'm sure that you are very happy to hear the chapter matter because we were studying the same from class 6 and 7. Now again we have to just remember some things what we have learned in previous years, and we have learned a little more deeply. Okay, now we know that what is matter? You remember that one? What's matter? Anything which is having space, in order to occupy, it needs some space and it has mass, is called matter. And we have learned about matter from past 2 years, not even 2 years. We are studying from lower sections. The matter is having mainly 3 states. All of the things, that means a tiny particle which cannot be seen by a human being, to the stars which is very heavily in the universe, up to there, all things are made up of matter. All things are made up of matter. And this matter is having mainly 3 states. First one is solid, second one is a liquid, and third one is a gas. So, solid, liquid and gases are the 3 states of matter. We have that. Again, in chemistry you have learned about element. What is element? Element is defined as the substance that cannot be subdivided into 2 or 3 or any more by physical or chemical method. Element means the substances, or the element is defined as the substances that cannot be subdivided into 2 or 3 or more by physical or chemical method is called elements. And 180 elements are there. Now, atom. What is atom? Atom is the smallest unit of this element. And atom may or may not have independent existence. That means the atom, sometimes atom cannot stand alone. It will be combined with one atom or more than one atom. Sometimes it can have, it can be independent, it can be existence also. Okay, and they will take in chemical reaction. They will take a part in chemical reaction. Okay, that is called the atom. The next one is molecule. Molecule is the smallest unit of matter which can existence independently. And it carries the physical and chemical properties of matter. Whatever properties are there for the matter will be carried by the molecules. But this is the smallest unit of matter. All the properties of physical and chemical properties will show by the molecule. Now, next we are moving to the kinetic theory of matter. What is the kinetic theory of matter? Kinetic means, the word kinetic means moment, movement. What is the movement theory of matter? Matter is made up of tiny particles called tiny particles and are continuous motion, and thus all the particles possess kinetic energy. Already we have learned. Matter is made up of small tiny particles, and these particles are under motion. Sometimes they may not be able to change their position, but being on their position they are actually vibrating. Okay. The next point is the kinetic energy of the particle, or the moment of particle, is directly proportional to the temperature. The moment of particle is actually directly proportional to the temperature. The moment of particle is directly proportional to the temperature. That means when the temperature is increasing, this kinetic energy also will be increasing, and when the temperature is decreasing, this kinetic energy will be decreasing. And third point is that molecules in a substance always exert a force of attraction. That means always this matter is made up of tiny molecule particles, and these particles will have a kinetic energy, and this kinetic energy is directly proportional to the temperature, and it is telling that the molecules will have a force of attraction. A force of attraction will be there, and that is called the intermolecular force of attraction. That is called the intermolecular force. Intermolecular force. Intermolecular force. The force of attraction between two particles of matter is called the intermolecular force. Then second, another point is that surely there will be some space in between the particles. The particles of matter will have some space in between them, and this is called intermolecular space. Intermolecular space. Intermolecular space. Then these are the main points of kinetic theory of matter. So what is kinetic theory of matter? Kinetic theory of matter is telling that matter is made up of tiny particles which is under motion. Surely they are having a kinetic energy, and this kinetic energy is directly proportional to the temperature. That is the second point. That means when the temperature is increasing, this kinetic energy can be increased, and when the temperature is decreasing, the kinetic energy also will be decreased. Then third point is the particles in between. The matter is made up of particles, and there will be a force of attraction between the particles of matter will be there. The force of attraction between the particles of matter is called intermolecular force. Third point. And fourth and final point is that there will be a space in between the particles of matter, and the space which is in between the particles of matter is called intermolecular space. Intermolecular space. These are the 4 points. Now we are going to study about some cases, that means some substances. So the state of substances already we know: solid, liquid and gas, and these things we are going to study on the basis of intermolecular space, intermolecular force and the kinetic energy. Intermolecular space and intermolecular force and the kinetic energy. Or we are going to study the properties of matter, different forms of matter using kinetic theory. Using kinetic theory of matter. Now, the first one is properties of solids. Properties of solids. Solid, we know it's tightly packed. The solids are very tightly packed. So, tightly packed means the space in between the solids will be very less. The least space in between the solids will be very less. And the force of attraction will be maximum. When the space is less, the force of attraction will be maximum. The kinetic energy will be minimum because they cannot move for a long distance. They can be just without changing their position, they can just vibrate from their particular position. So they are not able to move. So they are very tightly packed. So there is no space in between the molecules. Second one is the intermolecular force of attraction will be maximum. So it is very difficult to separate them. So they are having a definite shape. Then next one is small intermolecular space, so it cannot be compressed easily. That means since there is no much space, if we are compressing, we cannot compress the solids more. A small point only we can compress, that can be neglected. So we will say that the compression cannot be compressed. The next one is strong intermolecular force of attraction, so it prevents the molecules from sliding over each other. Hence, solids cannot flow. That means since a huge force between this molecule to this one and this one, this cannot move from their position, so the solid cannot flow. It's at a particular position. The next one is due to the strong intermolecular force of attraction in solid, they expand very little on heating. That means if you heat this one, the expansion, the thermal expansion we have studied in class 7, the expansion will be minimum in the case of solid. Okay, so what are the properties of solid? Solids are very tightly packed, so the space between them is very less. Since the space is very less, it is having a strong intermolecular force of attraction, and since they are having a definite shape, then because of the intermolecular spaces, solid cannot be compressed easily, then it cannot flow, and finally the solid cannot be, or it will not be expanding more on heating. It will expand, but it will be very less compared to the liquid and gases. Clear? Now, next one is properties of liquid. So, the properties of liquid means they are compared with the solid, they are having more spaces. We are discussing the first one is space. The space between them will be little more compared with solid, but compared to gases, the space are less. And force, here there is a large amount of intermolecular force, but space was less. Since space is increasing, what will happen? Force will be decreasing. So what will happen? This can be changed. The position of this molecule can be changed. This molecule can become here, or this molecule can go outside, here. It can change, but it cannot go out. It can be changed only inside that particular. If it is the liquid is in vessel, that particular vessel will be there. So it can flow, not outside, it can flow. The next one is that the kinetic energy, compared with solid, the kinetic energy is more because they are moving. Here they were just vibrating without changing position. Here they are moving. Since they are moving, they do not have a particular shape. They do not have a particular shape. It will be the shape of the container where we are keeping the solid. Then next one is intermolecular force of attraction is very less compared with the solid. Then liquids have the largest intermolecular spaces than solid, therefore it can be compressed slightly. That means this here I told the compression is very less. Here compared with this, it can be compressed a little. Then larger number of spaces are there, it can be compressed slightly. Then on heating, since the space is less, here the space is more compared with the solid. On heating, it will expand more than solid. Then next the properties of gases. What is space? Large intermolecular vacant spaces are there. Since large spaces are there, what will happen? And force of attraction is negligible. That means intermolecular force will be least or minimum in case of gases. So we will neglect that one. We will say that there is no intermolecular force of attraction between the gaseous particles. Then, due to the negligible intermolecular force of attraction, molecules of a gas are able to move independently and occupy the entire space in a container. That means if I am taking a gas in a container, in a small box or in a small bottle, gas molecules will remain there. But if I open the bottle, full room, it can be moved. Here, it can flow, but it should be inside the vessel. Here, if the open the lid, what will happen? It will be spreading. That's why when we are using spray and all, what will happen? The entire space, that smell of the spray will be spreading. Then, the intermolecular spaces are very large. They can be easily compressed. That means compression. Here it cannot be compressed. It can be compressed a little. This can be compressed. That's why when you are blowing air to the balloon and all, you can compress that one. Instead of air, you can fill sand. You cannot. If you are instead of the sand, you are using water inside the balloon, it can be compressed a little. That is the difference. Then the negligible intermolecular force of attraction in gases allows them to flow easily. That means not in the container, it will be flowing up very well. It can flow easily. Then they expand very maximum expansion. Thermal expansion will be maximum in the gases since they do not have much. Since they are having no attraction. Okay, then molecules of the gas are free to move, resulting that collisions among the molecules as well as in the walls of the container, and this is the cause of pressure of the gas. Okay, so when it is moving, there will be a collision will be there, so there will be a pressure. Okay, these are the properties of solid, liquid, and gas on the basis of kinetic theory of matter. The kinetic theory of matter. So what are the things we have discussed today? We have discussed about matter which is having mass and it requires space to occupy, and matter is having three main states: solid, liquid, and gas. And we have come to the element. Element means the substance that cannot be subdivided by into two, or we cannot make that one into simple forms, 2 or 3 or small. We cannot. By physical method or the chemical method, then atom is the smallest unit of the element, and may or may not be have independent existence, but it will participate in the chemical reaction. Then molecule is the smallest unit of matter, and it will show all the properties of matter, and it can exist independently. Then we have studied about the kinetic theory of matter. In kinetic theory of matter, we have studied all the matter is made up of tiny particles, and these particles are having a kinetic moment is there, kinetic energy is there, and this kinetic energy is directly proportional to the temperature. When the temperature is increasing, the kinetic energy will be increasing, and when the temperature is reducing, the kinetic energy also will be reducing. Then there will be a force of attraction between the properties of matter, that is called intermolecular forces, and there is a space between the tiny particles, and that is called the intermolecular space. Depending upon space, force, and kinetic energy, we discussed about the different characteristics of solid, liquid, and gases. Then here we have seen that the space is very less. Since the space is very less, the force of attraction will be maximum. Force of attraction is maximum means it is having a definite state. It cannot be compressed since space is less, and kinetic energy is very less. It can be just vibrate, or it cannot go out, or it cannot change the position. It cannot flow. Then here liquid, the space is more. Since the space is more, the force will be less. It can be compressed a little, and it can flow from one position to another position, but it cannot go out of the container. It can flow, and compressibility is there. And here this one is having more space, that means there is no force of attraction, and compressibility will be maximum. And thermal expansion will be minimum here. Compared with this one, liquid will expand little more, and maximum thermal expansion will be for gases. These are the properties of gases and liquids and solids. So you may go through the study questions and fill in the blanks and go to the textbook, and that you can be copied into your physics copy. Next day we will discuss about the next topic. Thank you.